Once, Alex and Denial were inseparable. Two women bound not just by passion, but by a rare, unspoken understanding. Alex, the sharp-edged, soft-hearted nurse who had climbed every step of life's ladder on her own terms. Denial, the ice-cold, heiress to a corporate empire, whose every decision was watched, judged, and calculated. Together, they had found refuge in each other. Where Alex offered warmth, Denial provided shelter. Where Denial brought order, Alex taught her freedom. But love, no matter how fierce, had its limits when power and pride got in the way. They broke up. Not because the love ended, but because the world between them refused to bend. Denial's family disapproved. Alex's pride wouldn't allow her to beg. The divide of status and expectation became a chasm they couldn't cross. Their breakup was not explosive. It was quiet, painful, the kind that leaves scars deeper than a scream. And yet fate wasn't finished with them. In a twist neither expected, life brought them back into each other's orbit. A medical partnership, a corporate collaboration, an inescapable collision. In the previous chapter, their reunion simmered with tension, stolen glances, veiled jabs, lingering moments when silence screamed louder than words. They pretended professionalism, but their eyes betrayed them. Alex still remembered how Denial kissed her collarbone like a promise. Denial still ached with the echo of Alex's laughter in her chest. But not all wounds heal with time. Some stay, raw, and between them now lies a battlefield of what-ifs and could-have-beens. Alex has changed, stronger, guarded. Denial, still chained to the world that once tore them apart, can't seem to let go of her crown even when it costs her the one thing she ever truly wanted. Their love story isn't a fairy tale. It's a war. And as they meet again in the haze of memory and unspoken longing, something feels inevitable. Not all reunions are made to last. This time, when they break again, it might just be for good. The hospital's grand ballroom buzzed with chatter and clinking glasses dressed in silver and navy, Denial's company colors. The gala was an annual charity event her firm sponsored, but this year, the guest of honor wasn't one of the usual political names or pharmaceutical donors. It was Dr. Alex Monroe, head of emergency response, newly recognized for her outreach work in underserved communities. Her photo had been in the paper that week, standing beside children and first responders. She looked calm, composed, powerful. When Denial saw her on stage, microphone in hand and heart in her voice, something twisted beneath her ribs. "Thank you all." Alex spoke to the crowd, her voice confident, her gaze unshakable. "Tonight's donations will fund faster emergency equipment and more accessible trauma training, because every life, no matter the zip code, deserves a fighting chance." Applause thundered, but Denial didn't move. She just stared. Later, they collided backstage, literally. Denial turned a corner, and there she was. Alex, scribbling notes on a clipboard. All business. Alex. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. "Denial," Alex replied, her eyes flicking up with no smile. "Still funding causes to distract from the actual problems? Still diagnosing symptoms instead of fixing the system?" There it was, their rhythm. Snark, sharp as ever. But underneath it, something pulsed. Denial stepped closer. "You look different." "Yeah, that's what healing does." Alex didn't flinch. "And you still wear tailored guilt well." Denial almost laughed, but the truth stung too much. They ended up side by side for the press photos. Too close. Alex's perfume, vanilla, and lemon, drifted to Denial like a memory she'd tried to bury. The camera flashed. Alex's hand brushed against Denial's by accident. Neither moved. "You're really doing it," Denial murmured after the shoot. "You've become everything you said you would." Alex turned to her, jaw tight. I had to. No one was going to rescue me. Silence fell. Thick. Electric. The party behind them faded into a distant hum. They were alone on the terrace. Cold. Air rushing between their bodies like breath they hadn't yet taken. I missed you, Denial said suddenly, voice low. Alex's eyes flickered, torn. Don't. You did. I can't afford to. Denial stepped forward. Just one step. Her fingers reached out instinctively, brushing a loose strand of Alex's hair behind her ear. Alex's eyes fluttered shut for a second, just one. Denial's hand stayed there, cradling her cheek like old muscle memory. They leaned in, a moment. One heartbeat from something reckless. But the glass door behind them slid open with a loud clack. A board member, cheerful and oblivious, called out, "Denial, the mayor's asking for you." The moment shattered like porcelain. Alex stepped back, mask sliding into place. "Duty calls," she said flatly. Denial hesitated. She wanted to stay, to say something, anything. But instead, she turned away. Alex watched her walk back into that glittering world like she belonged there. Like she didn't just almost kiss the girl who once burned down everything for her. It wasn't a kiss. But it was a beginning, or maybe the beginning of the end. The rooftop was quiet. Too quiet for a city like theirs. Only the low hum of traffic below and the occasional flicker of wind dared interrupt the silence. Alex stood by the railing, staring out at the skyline like it could offer her answers. Her heels were off, one hand clutching a glass of untouched champagne. Behind her, the door creaked open. She didn't have to turn. "I knew you'd follow me," she said. Denial's voice was clipped. "You always disappear when things get too close." Alex laughed bitterly. "Says the woman who ghosted me in a penthouse apartment like I was. A mistake." Denial stepped forward, her heels clicking like accusations across the rooftop. "You're still holding on to it." Alex turned then, slow and seething. "Of course I am. Because you didn't just leave me. You abandoned everything. We were building. You chose your family's approval. You chose their empire. You chose control. And I was just collateral. I didn't have a choice." "You always had a choice, Denial. You just didn't pick me." The words cracked in the cold air, sharper than either of them expected. Denial's jaw clenched. Her voice trembled, not with fear, but frustration. "I was trying to protect you. You didn't see what they were threatening. Your license, your career, your safety. They would have crushed you just to make a point." "I didn't need a savior," Alex snapped. "I needed a partner." Denial looked away, pain flickering behind her eyes. "I thought letting go was the least damaging way to love you. You don't get to dress up cowardice as protection." Silence bloomed again, thick, charged. Then Denial spoke, barely above a whisper. "I never stopped loving you." Alex's breath hitched. Her fingers tightened around the champagne glass. "You don't get to say that now," she said, voice wavering. "I never stopped," Denial repeated. "Even when I signed the contracts. Even when I agreed to that sham of an engagement. Even now when I know you hate me." "I don't hate you," Alex murmured, eyes glistening. "I wish I did." She took a step forward. Denial didn't move. "I still dream about you," Alex said. "About that morning in the apartment, the one where we just lay there. No expectations, no names, just us." Denial blinked fast, like she could erase the image. "I remember. You smelled like oranges and coffee." Their eyes met. Blue meeting storm. And then the air between them cracked. Denial reached for her first, hands threading through Alex's hair as their mouths crashed together. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't sweet. It was hungry, angry, breathless. A collision of all the words they never said and all the nights they pretended not to care. Alex pulled at Denial's jacket, lips hot against her neck. Denial pushed her against the wall, kissing her like a drowning woman clinging to the only breath she's ever known. But there was desperation in it too. Not just desire, but grief. When they finally broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed together, Denial whispered, "Tell me this means something." Alex's hand trembled on her waist. "It means everything. And nothing." Denial's face crumbled. "Then what do we do now?" Alex stared at her, eyes rimmed with tears. "We survive." She slipped out of Denial's arms, the cold air rushing back between them like a wall. Denial didn't follow. Sunlight spilled across the hardwood floor, soft and golden, painting warmth onto the quiet room. The curtains swayed with a lazy breeze, and outside, the city murmured into wakefulness. But inside, everything was still. Alex stirred first, her cheek pressed to Denial's bare shoulder. She blinked slowly, trying to remember if this was a dream or another cruel trick of memory. But when she looked up and saw Denial sleeping, softer, younger somehow, her cold armor stripped away, she knew it was real. She let herself stay there a moment longer, breathing in the familiar scent of citrus and cedar. Denial's eyes fluttered, open. "You're staring." Alex smirked, voice raspy with mourning. "I'm checking for signs of humanity." Denial chuckled, quiet, husky. "Still the same smartass. For you, always." They lay there for a while, side by side, fingertips, grazing beneath the sheets like they were rediscovering each other. No pressure, no masks. Just Alex and Denial as they once were, as they could be. "I used to dream about mornings like this," Denial said after a long silence. "But in those dreams, I never knew how to hold on to them." Alex turned to her, expression softening. "What happened, Denial? Really?" Denial sighed, eyes drifting to the ceiling. "The board wanted control. My father wanted obedience. Everything I touched came with strings. You were the only thing that felt real, but they made me believe I had to choose. And I was scared. Scared of what I'd lose. Scared I wasn't enough outside of the name I inherited." "You were always enough," Alex whispered. "But I get it. I grew up with nothing. Scraped my way through med school, slept in call rooms for years. So when I finally built a life, I was terrified of anyone who could tear it down." Denial turned toward her, hand brushing Alex's face. "But I never wanted to tear you down. I wanted to build something. With you." A beat passed. Hope shimmered, cautious but alive. "I don't want to live two lives anymore," Denial said. "I'll talk to the board. Maybe not step down entirely, but I can restructure things, build something less rigid, something with space for us." Alex studied her, eyes wide and disbelieving. "Are you serious?" For once, Denial said with a smile, "Yes." Alex leaned in, pressing a soft kiss to her lips. This one wasn't desperate. It was tender. A quiet promise. Maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. Denial sat at the head of the mahogany table in the boardroom, shoulders squared, eyes sharp. But beneath her composed exterior, a storm churned. Across from her, her father, gray-haired, immaculate and cold, folded his hands like a verdict. "You're distracted," he said. "Sloppy." "I'm still hitting quarterly targets," Denial replied flatly. "You're slipping," came the reply from another partner, pulling out of that real estate venture, canceling appearances, reassigning key accounts to junior execs, all since you reconnected with that nurse. "Her name is Alex," Denial said, jaw tight. She's a liability, her father snapped. You start prioritizing feelings over strategy, and everything your name stands for becomes vulnerable. You know what weakness looks like in this world? Attachment. Denial said nothing. Her silence was misread as obedience. You're expected at the Bennett fundraiser next week, another partner added. Bring Eliza. It's time we move forward with that merger talk. Publicly. Her stomach turned. Eliza Bennett, the polished, well-bred daughter of one of the firm's oldest allies, business partner. Occasional date for optics. And now, apparently, her placeholder fiancé in the making. Denial nodded once, mechanically. Her thoughts were elsewhere. Alex. The texts grew less frequent. The calls went unanswered. The late-night visits stopped entirely. Alex tried not to notice at first. She told herself Denial was just busy, negotiating, fighting for them behind the scenes like she'd promised. But days passed, then a week, then another. Her messages turned from playful to questioning to unread. Just checking in. Let me know if you're okay. You don't have to do this alone, but please don't shut me out. Are we still us? Nothing. The hurt settled deep in her bones. Alex buried herself in shifts, paperwork, outreach. She worked until her hands ached and her feet went numb, because at least exhaustion numbed everything else too. Still, the hope lingered, until she saw it. It was a Tuesday evening. Alex had just finished a long shift at the hospital when she passed the Conrad Hotel downtown. Through the floor-to-ceiling lobby windows, she caught a flash of something familiar. Gold hair, that navy blue suit jacket she'd once unbuttoned. In a rush of passion, denial. She stood by the bar, laughing stiffly, glass in hand. And beside her stood a woman Alex had seen once in a magazine. Eliza. Elegant, curated. Her hand casually rested on Denial's arm. Alex stopped walking. She couldn't hear their conversation. She didn't need to. Denial's body language said everything, reserved but polite, shoulders back, nodding when Eliza leaned in too close. She didn't push her away. Alex felt like the glass separating them wasn't just physical. It was metaphorical. A transparent wall. Denial had put up again, leaving her outside in the cold. A familiar pain flared in her chest. She didn't stay to see more. She turned and walked away, her breath coming in shallow bursts. Later that night, she deleted the last text she'd written but never sent. I believe in you. The next time Denial did reach out, it was 2 days later. A short message. Can we talk? But Alex was already retreating. Her reply was polite, professional, icy. I think we've said everything we needed to say. Denial stared at the screen for minutes, unmoving. She hadn't kissed Eliza. She hadn't even wanted to be there. But she'd gone, because she was told it would buy her time. Time to convince the board, to shift power. Time to protect her future, with Alex. But she hadn't told Alex that, because she'd been afraid. Again. Now, it might be too late. The rain fell in steady sheets, washing the city in shades of gray and silver. Alex stood at the entrance of Denial's office tower, drenched, breath heaving, fists clenched at her sides. People rushed past with umbrellas and coats pulled tight, but she didn't move. Couldn't. When Denial finally emerged, flanked by assistants and shielding herself under a sleek black umbrella, she froze mid-step. Alex? She whispered, almost in disbelief. Don't pretend you're surprised, Alex replied, voice tight. You ignored my messages. You thought I'd just disappear? Denial dismissed her assistants with a quiet gesture. They hesitated, but left. The two women stood in the rain, inches apart, but worlds away. I need the truth, Alex said. Not silence, Not polished statements, not a goddamn charity gala or a polite brush-off, just the truth. Denial swallowed. Hard. Alex, Don't make me beg. Alex cut in, tears mixing with rain on her cheeks. Just tell me, was it all a lie? No, Denial said quickly. None of it was a lie. I meant every word. Then why did you vanish? Why did I see you with her? Denial looked down, shame flickering across her features. Because I thought I could change everything. I thought if I played their game just a little longer, I could make enough space for you. For us. But I was wrong. Alex's voice cracked. Then why didn't you just say that? Because I didn't want you to see me like this. Denial whispered. Trapped. Powerless. I've spent my whole life being the unshakable one, the one in control. But with you, I wanted to be more than that. And I failed. You didn't have to be brave for them, Alex said, stepping forward, rain streaking down her temple. You just had to be brave for me. Denial's breath hitched, her lips trembled, but she said nothing. The silence between them was deafening. I waited for you, Alex continued. I waited so long. Not just after that night. Weeks, months, years. I built myself back up brick by brick, and when you walked back into my life, I let myself believe that maybe this time would be different, that you were different. I wanted to be, but you're still scared. Denial nodded slowly, eyes shining. I am. Alex's voice broke into a whisper. Then it's over. They stood under the storm, the weight of all their almosts and what-ifs hanging in the air. Denial reached out, hesitant, fingers ghosting over Alex's wrist. I'll always love you. Alex let a tear fall freely. Then why does it always end like this? There was no answer. Just the sound of rain. Just the silence of goodbye. Alex turned and walked away, soaked and shaking, but upright. This time, she wouldn't shatter, and Denial stayed behind, letting go. Again. Weeks had passed since the rain-drenched confrontation. Alex stood in her small apartment, the morning light filtering softly through sheer curtains. On the worn wooden dresser sat a framed photo, the two of them, caught in a rare moment of laughter and warmth. Alex's fingers brushed the glass gently, tracing the outline of Denial's smiling face. A faint smile tugged at her lips, bittersweet but steady. The ache was still there, but it no longer consumed her. She was healing, growing stronger. She turned away from the photo and picked up a stack of medical files, ready to face the day ahead. Her day, on her terms. At a charity gala downtown, Denial lingered in the shadows of the grand ballroom. Her eyes searched the crowd until they found Alex, radiant, confident, surrounded by friends and colleagues who admired her. Denial's gaze lingered for a moment longer, a flicker of old love and regret flickering behind her calm exterior. Then, without a word, she turned away and disappeared into the throng. Voiceover, internal monologue. Alex's voice. We were fire, meant to burn, not to last. Her breath caught on the truth of it. Loving her was like holding lightning, beautiful, but impossible. Or maybe we were enemies again. But once, we were everything. The past